Hey guys, I was wanting to do, reviews or whatever, short reviews of the episodes of season 7 of Alone as they came out. I got through the first two, and then I headed off into the wilderness and haven't been able to really watch since. So I'm out of the wilderness for a day here, and figured I would at least do another review on the episode I just watched, which was season 7, episode 6, about the musk ox. And right at the start, you see Roland take a shot at a musk ox about 35 yards away, and he sticks it, but he sticks it in the back leg, which in most cases is definitely not going to be a kill shot. But fortunately for him, he looks over and it's bleeding a lot, and sure enough, he stuck it right in the femoral artery, inch one way or an inch the other, and that muskox definitely wouldn't die. So he watches it, and it also, interestingly, it doesn't run off. It kind of just moseys off with this arrow sticking out of it, and he sees it bleeding like crazy, and so he tracks it as you would. And you can't really tell how far he tracked it, but I'm sure they went a long ways, and finally the thing basically ran out of blood and energy and laid down, and Roland caught up to it, and I'm sure he wanted to finish it off right away, as bad as I wanted to finish off the moose right away. But you don't want to try to do that sooner than necessary, as any bow hunter knows that animal might just jump up, run off, and you'll never find it again. So you saw when he shot the muskox, he didn't really know what happened. Something stuck him in the leg. He wasn't afraid. He wandered off. The best thing for him to do is to slowly bleed out, and without the fear and the adrenaline that would happen if you started chasing him and he found you, or saw you chasing him. So Roland does that right. He waits and waits and waits, and after 5 hours, he decides, I think, that it's lost enough energy from blood loss that he can go in and finish a job. So you get some pretty wild footage of him running in there and stabbing that musk ox and shoving it over, trying to get it to die a little quicker. I'm sure night's coming. He wants to get that thing skinned and pack some back. That definitely reminded me of course, the Wolverine last year, but pretty wild. Anyway, he got some good footage, and I can totally relate to his joy as soon as that thing goes down, because man, what an awesome feeling when finally that animal dies after 3 for me or 5 for Roland, but 5 hours of waiting. The thing just finally kicks up its legs, falls over, and woo, you can, what a joy that is. I definitely, and there's not many situations you're hunting where the stakes are as high as they are on that show, in our modern world. So so cheers, Roland. I definitely know the feeling, and it's pretty awesome. So there you go. You got big game, and like he says, he's got game, he's got his shelter set up, and pretty exciting. Now he's got to, of course, pack all that game out, and he said he's 2 miles from his shelter, was his estimation. I think later, maybe 1.5 miles, he said. But anyway, for however far he is, packing meat is hard work, no fun, but it's a great problem to have, I tell you what. So he gets on doing that, and that's pretty exciting to see. He's also excited about eating the heart, which is also my favorite cut of meat out of any game, really. That heart is so good. You see him later in the episode. He loses the bear eats the tongue out of his muskox, which is a shame, because that's one of my other favorite parts. Though, yeah, the heart is the top there. So let me see what else did I take notes on as I was watching. Well, then you go to Mark, and he's raising his meat up in the trees, which or his fish, which is cool. I like his climbing up he's adept at climbing trees. He built his whole storage. When I built my food cache, I built it with scaffolding that I kind of rigged up, he just climbs up the tree and builds it, which is pretty funny, pretty good, nice job. And then but he initially just hangs his meat in the tree, and you might remember from last year I had done that also, but it's definitely exposed. I wrapped all my meat in branches before I hung it up so that at least the birds couldn't land on it and peck off all the external fat, though they still tried their best. He's got his fish up there. I know even when I was fishing also, I'd be fishing here after I caught one fish, and I'd turn around and the crows would be pecking the eyeballs out of some other fish that I caught. So one thing about having him up there like that, I wonder if he ever had issues with birds pecking away at his fish hanging. But I like it's definitely it's kind of the classic way to temporarily store meat up in the woods. And unfortunately, he crazily has a bear come in and steal it, which is particularly unfortunate because that's almost an ideal situation where you have fish, you got a bear. It's like put two and two together and you might just be eating real well. But I'm not sure if he has other fish. Hopefully he does. He's definitely, after he loses his fish, he's determined to hunt that bear, so I'm happy to see that. I want to see more people trying that, and we'll see if he can get it. And then in the meantime, he has a great little tune he puts together, nice song. Pretty funny. You can see he's been catching some rabbits and stuff. Who knows what they're not showing, but he's doing real well. Aside from the fish getting stolen, that's rough. I liked his little system he rigged up on lowering his shelter door. I don't know if you noticed, but that was creative. And then we go to Kai, who is a friend and somebody that I'm excited to continue watching, and she builds a boat, which is good. As you can see from her, I could see from her satellite image of her location that it's pretty shallow. She's obviously figured that out, and so she's gonna try to get out deeper, which is what you kind of gotta do. And later on in the episode, you see her put her boat in the water and get out there, and unfortunately, I think it's so heavy that she can't really maneuver it well. I thought about doing a boat too, but I was actually pretty scared, and she's calculated the risks also. It is scary but I was scared of the waves that can cook up in that lake. You can get some serious wind going and it gets pretty wild, so I didn't build a little boat or anything, but she did, and she kind of had to, it looks like, and unfortunately it just didn't really work out yet. We'll see if she can modify it and get out deep, but it's really heavy. I was wondering when I watched her build it if maybe using dried wood. Maybe she didn't have a lot around where she was, but might have would have kept it lighter and a little floatier. But it was an awesome to see her build that. It's a good, again, keeps trying to problem solve and overcome her situations. I like it. Then we get then we go to Joe, they kind of show. Now, I've been curious about Joe. I don't really know what his plan is long term, as far as he doesn't have a bow and he doesn't have a fishing net, so I'm sure he's setting a lot of snares. Of course, you can't live on that very long for he caught that monster lake trout. That thing was cool. I wonder how heavy it was. That was definitely a boost there. But he seems to be, taking his time with his permanent shelter, and in the meantime, he's kind of suffering in his temporary one. He's got the wind blowing and it's driving him kind of crazy. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm wondering why he doesn't just lay a bunch of branches or trees on his tarp to just hold it down so it wouldn't flap. That's the move you would do in that situation. And then also it's a little shallow, which you can see without a pitch. The water sits in your tarp and kind of drips through. They're not impressively waterproof, especially if they've been flapping around and stuff. But he's hanging in there. Let's see. And he's getting, working on really nice joinery and stuff on his shelter. Sometimes I think you might save time if you do it a little less finely and then just chink it with the moss that's all around rather than getting the joints to fit perfectly tight. Might save some time. But by the end of the episode, he's moving into his permanent shelter anyway, so he got it. They switch over to Callie, and Callie, like always, has a real good attitude. She's excited about the snow and the snaring, and she hasn't got a lot of time yet, so we'll see. I don't know what she's been getting. She's probably been getting a lot of little animals and stuff, but hopefully I guess I missed a couple episodes too. I need to go back, but she seems to be in really good spirits, and so I'm glad to see that. Then we kind of go back to I noticed we went back to Roland, and you kind of get a better look at his shelter, and it's looking really good. I think if you have the materials there, if you got rocks and stuff, it's great to use those. Use your resources, and he did, and he built a really nice shelter, so good for him. And now he's got meat. If he can get it all back without getting it stolen, as he's having issues with the bear, he's gonna be feeling pretty good about himself. I like it. It shows him eat his first bite of that heart. So good. And just more footage of him packing his meat around. And then they show Amos, and he's such a nice guy. Seems like he's doing really well with his fishing net, and he loses his fishing net, which is kind of brutal since it's his only source of food at the moment, but sits down and he makes another one, and I don't know, again, you don't know how long it took him, but he looked like he was a lot faster than me at making one, because he got it done. According to the show, it was pretty fast. So he put it out, and bam, he caught a fish in his own home woven net. That's pretty exciting, man. For me it was, and it was a big old pike, which I like the pike because unlike the lake trout where the fat's all tied in with the intestines, kind of hard to separate. The pike fat just pulls right out of the cavity in a big old chunk. Super nice eating. See if I have any other. That's funny. I just took a note of the little birds that were pecking at Roland's meat. Definitely saw a lot of them also. But like I said, that's what I did, was wrap all my meat in branches so they couldn't get to it. But they're good at finding stuff and raiding your camp. What else? I think that's mostly what I have written down here. It was kind of a fun episode. Again, fun to see a big game kill. Roland obviously knows what he's doing. He's put out the challenge to all the hunting guides out there that he's the best on the planet. No, but he's definitely good, and I think that's almost a more matter of the way of the people who have been on the show previously. I don't think they've heavily dipped into the hunter-fisher group of people, and they get more of the I don't know. There haven't been like a lot of major hunters on the show yet. Roland's definitely one of them. I feel like so. It's been cool. It's cool to see him get that down, get his game packed, as I'm sure he's done many times, and we'll see where it takes everybody. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to throw another little chat in about the episode. I know people said they were liking them. I just haven't. I spent the last few weeks up in the wilderness and haven't had internet or anything, so this is the best I can do in my few hours of respite between my next journey back in. So I hope you enjoy it, and I know I'm still a couple episodes behind, but after this week I'll have some time and hopefully I can pump out a couple more. Alright guys, see ya.